Hello everyone, welcome to Teaching Pathshala and it's me, your educator Jyoti. In today's video, we are going to talk about anchor cell formation in C. elegans. Previously, I have uploaded one video in which I have introduced you to the vulva formation in C. elegans. At that location, we have seen that there is a presence of an anchor cell. An anchor cell used to secrete inductive signal in the form of a Lin3 that is signaling molecule. So we are talking about that anchor cell only, that how they are going to form, because this is again one of the most important portion from the C. elegans itself. So if we are talking about the anchor cell formation, so first of all we know that there is a existence of two type of sex in case of a C. elegans. First is the male and second is the hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite, it is going to have both the sexes, that is like the system which will be producing sperm as well as egg, both, right? So in case of a wild type, okay, we are talking about the wild type. In case of a wild type C. elegans, mainly the hermaphrodite, okay, hermaphrodite. So we are talking about the hermaphrodite because anchor cell will be helping in the that is induction of vulva. And if you are talking about the vulva, obviously it should be the part of hermaphrodite only. So induction or the formation of the anchor cell is a very initial step. So what it has been seen that in a wild type hermaphrodite there is a existence of two adjacent cell, okay, that is two adjacent cell. Two adjacent cells are there and they are named as, first is named as that is Z1 PP, sorry, triple P, and second one is the Z4 triple A. Okay, these are the two cells which are present in an adjacent way in case of the wild type hermaphrodite. And these two cells, okay, this is like a Z1 dot a triple P and Z4 dot triple A. These two cell having the equal potential to become anchor cell, okay, they are having the equal potential. They are known as the equipotential cell, and they are having a equal potential to become what? To become anchor cell. Anchor cell. So now the thing is like, what is responsible behind the formation of anchor cell? Because both of both the cell having the equal potential to form anchor cell, that means there would be some kind of signaling molecule which will be responsible for the anchor cell formation. And obviously if two of the cells are having the potential to form anchor cell, that is not obvious that both will going to form the anchor cell. Obviously one will be forming anchor cell and the second one will be forming something else. So that is what we are going to see in this particular lecture. So in normal condition there is a consideration that in a normal condition there is a consideration that these two cells, that is Z1 triple P and Z4 triple A, okay, Z4 triple A, these two cells should interact in such a manner that one should become, okay, one should become anchor cell, and the second cell should become what? That is the precursor for uterine tissue. Precursor for uterine tissue. So this is a normal condition. Like in a wild type hermaphrodite, there should be interaction between these two cells, and the interaction should be in this manner that one should become anchor cell and the second one should become, that is, precursor for the uterine tissue. Just for the easiest consideration, let's assume that suppose this is a consideration only, okay, let's consider that Z1 triple P, let's consider it as a cell 1, okay, it is just an assumption. And for Z4 triple A, let's consider it as a cell 2. So what is happening actually, as because the wild type hermaphrodite, okay, I'm writing it as a WTH, that is the wild type hermaphrodite, it is having a two cell, okay, let's give a name of like cell 1 and cell 2. So the factor which will be giving a accurate fate for these two cells are the Lin12, Okay, there is one new molecule we have introduced here, and the name of this new molecule is Lin-12. We will be dealing with the nature of Lin-12 also. So what is the function of Lin-12? If any of these two cells, okay, if any of these two cells is having Lin-12, let's consider that cell 1 is having a Lin-12. Okay, let me change the color. Cell 1 is having a presence of whom? That is Lin-12. Lin-12. And suppose the cell 2 is not having any Lin-12, minus Lin-12. Okay, so there is an absence of Lin-12 in case of a cell 2. So the cell which will be having this Lin-12, it will become uterine tissue, UT. Okay, uterine tissue. Let's consider that for anchor cell, let's use the like the short form, that is the AC, and for uterine tissue let's use the term that is UT. Okay, and the cell which will be lacking this Lin-12, it will be converting itself into the anchor cell. So this is a whole like rough idea that how anchor cell is going to form in case of hermaphrodite. It will be having a two cell, depending upon the fact that which cell is going to receive Lin-12. Depending upon that, the cell which will be receiving this Lin-12, it will be changing itself into the precursor for uterine tissue, and the cell which is lacking this Lin-12, it will be considered, or it will be having a fate to convert itself into the anchor cell. Before going in full detail, we have to understand first that what is a delta notch pathway, because there is an involvement of delta notch pathway during the formation of anchor cell. So if you are talking about the delta, so delta word, it is mainly stand for whom? It is mainly stand for the ligand. Okay, there is a one type of signaling pathway which is known as a delta notch pathway. I think you have heard about the juxtacrine signaling, right? Juxtacrine signaling is what kind of signaling? It is a type of signaling in which there is a direct physical contact between the cells, right? Physical contact between the cells. And one of the example for the juxtacrine signaling, is the notch delta pathway. Okay, notch delta pathway. Notch delta pathway. It's like, see, this is one cell and this is the second cell. Okay, they are going to make the direct physical contact between each other, and then they are going to proceed for the signaling pathway. This is what called the juxtacrine signaling pathway, in which there is a direct contact between two cells. And one of the example for the juxtacrine signaling is the delta notch pathway. These kind of pathway we are only going to see, like maximum time we are going to see in case of development. Okay, whenever an organism is going through a certain kind of development, at that time there is an involvement of different kind of organogenesis, right? Like kidney will form, heart will form. So during that particular time there is an involvement of notch delta pathway. Similarly, the delta is known as a ligand, and notch, for notch we use the simple term that is receptor. Okay, receptor. So whenever we are saying that suppose X molecule is acting as a delta, that means what? X molecule is acting as whom? That is a ligand. This is a whole concept. Similarly, if we are saying that Y molecule is there and it is acting as a notch, that means it is acting as a receptor, because receptor and ligand are the two terms which we use, which we generally use in a generalized kind of signaling pathway. But in case of a delta notch pathway, we doesn't use this word, that is the ligand or receptor. At that time we use the term that is delta and notch. Similarly, there is a presence of two molecules in case of a C elegans. The first molecule is the Lin-12, which you have just seen. Lin-12. Okay, Lin-12 is what? Lin-12 is acting as what? That is the notch. Lin-12 is acting as notch, and if Lin-12 is acting as a notch, that means it is acting as whom? It is acting as a receptor. So this is very obvious that if receptor is present, obviously there should be a presence of whom? That is the signaling molecule oblique ligand. So there is one more molecule which is known as what? That is the LAG2. Okay, LAG2. It is acting as whom? It is acting as a delta. And if it is acting as delta, that means it is behaving like a ligand. So the whole signaling pathway which will be dealing with the anchor cell formation, it will be involving the Lin-12 and LAG2. Lin-12 will be acting as receptor, and LAG2 it will be acting as whom? That is the delta or ligand. Okay, so now let's proceed with the signaling pathway, that what kind of signaling are there, like what kind of events are there which are responsible for the formation of anchor cell and uterine precursor cell. So as I have informed earlier, that let's first consider that is the wild type hermaphrodite. Okay, H is standing for hermaphrodite. It will be having a two type of cell, right? It will be having a two type of cell. Let's consider one, that is the cell 1. Okay, and second, let's consider it as a cell 2. I have already told you that we have to consider cell 1 and cell 2 for our better understanding, because it will be difficult to always remember it in the form of a z1 dot triple p, z2 dot triple p, sorry, z4 dot triple a. So like what I have did, I have just considered those two cells in the form of a cell 1 and cell 2 for our better understanding. But make sure here we like I'm already writing it in the form of like what, that is the two cell are there. One could be like z1 triple p, and second can be that is z4, sorry, z4 triple a. Okay, so as we know that in a hermaphrodite there is a presence of two adjacent cell, which is z1 dot triple p and z4 dot triple a, and we have considered it as a cell 1 and cell 2. So there is an involvement of a by chance event. Okay, there is an involvement of by chance event. It is not clear yet that what kind of pathway is responsible behind the activation of one of these cell, because at a time there will be the activation of only single cell, and that single cell will going to activate its neighboring cell. So this is a by chance event, that whether the cell 1 is going to activate first or whether the cell 2 is going to activate first. So this is a by chance event. Let's assume, okay, just for the assumption, let's assume that cell 1 get activated first. Okay, cell 1 has got like the chance to get activated in the very initial time. So what it is going to do, it will start producing, that is the lag 2. Okay, it will start producing lag 2. That means cell 1 will have a high concentration of the lag 2 production, right? Cell 1 will have a high lag 2 concentration because it is producing that, and lag 2 is acting as whom? Lag 2 is acting as a ligand oblique signal. So what it is going to do, with the help of a lag 2, the cell 1, it is going to stimulate the cell 2. Okay, with the help of a lag 2, cell 1, it is going to stimulate the cell 2 for the production of lin 12. Okay, for the production of lin 12, because cell 1 is giving the information to cell 2 that yes, I'm producing lag 2, that means I'm not going to produce lin 12. So this is a request, please start producing that is lin 12. So that is why there will be the high concentration of lin 12 at cell 2, but there will be low concentration of a lin 12 in the case of whom, that is the cell 1. Okay, I hope you got this concept, because the cell which will be having the probability to activate first, that cell will always going to activate lag 2 first, and then it is going to give signal to the second cell or adjacent cell that yes, as because I am producing lag 2, you should start producing lin 12, so that lag 2 and lin 12 could interact, right? So the cell which is having a high concentration of a lin 12, it is going to receive what? It is going to receive lag 2 in the form of a ligand, and hence the whole signaling will proceed. So as because in a previous slide we have seen that whenever there is a high concentration of a lin 12, that particular cell will give rise to what? That particular cell will give rise to uterine tissue, right? It will be acting as a precursor for the uterine tissue, and the cell which will be lacking this lin 12 production, that will be like, that will have the fate to convert itself into whom? That is the anchor cell. So on this basis, the whole signaling pathway, it used to take place. Whenever, like here I have considered that cell 1 is activating first, but we can also consider it as that cell 2 is activating first, and if just for a consideration, if in case the cell 2 is activating first, what it is going to do at that time, the cell 2 will start producing lag 2, and it will signal cell 1 to like to start produce sorry cell 2 will signal cell 1 that you should start producing lin12 because I am producing lag2. So it's totally depend upon the chance that which cell is which cell is getting the opportunity to get activated first in this particular signaling pathway. So whether it is a cell 1 or cell 2, whomsoever is getting the chance to get activated first, that cell will going to produce lag2 and the adjacent cell will start producing lin12. So always remember that the cell which will be having the lin12 in a very higher concentration, it will be having the fate to convert itself into the precursor for the uterine tissue, and the cell which will be having the low concentration of a lin12, it will be having the fate to convert itself into the anchor cell. So here we have seen that the cell which is producing lag2, it will have less amount of a lin12. Similarly, the cell which is producing lin12, it will be having low amount of lag2 production. So with this, we are done with the formation of anchor cell, and this anchor cell will be responsible in the further process during the vulva formation, in which this anchor cell will be responsible for the production of lin3, and this lin3 will be acting as a signaling molecule, and this will be helping in the induction of vulva. Okay, so I hope you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe this channel for getting different updates from CSIR UGC NET category.